Hi, I'm Ron with Cruising This Old Boat, and today I'm going to show you how to adjust the heading line on your Garmin GPSMap 1243 XSV. So this is the heading line indicator. It comes out of the bow of the boat icon on your chart. This is a preference thing. Some people like it, some people don't. I don't tend to use it, but then I tend to use autopilot following the course versus a heading hold. I suppose if you're using a heading hold, this might be more useful in telling you which way you're heading on the chart. But in either event, whether you want it or you don't, you need to know how to toggle it on and off. This adjustment is specific to each chart, so you'll have to set it up for each chart that you use. The first thing you need to do is press the options button in the lower right corner of your chart plotter, and that brings up the navigation chart menu. You will see a layers button at the very top on the right. Press that, and that brings up my vessel is the second choice. Press my vessel, and the very top one is the heading line. That's the line you want to toggle. So right now it's in the on position, and if I press it, it turns it off. Once you have toggled it to the position you want, hit the close button, and you're ready to go. Now if you choose to have your heading line turned on, by pressing the three dots to the right, you get additional options of how you want that heading line displayed and what you want it to do. Your first choice is angle markers, and if you press this button, then it places these angle markers on your chart. The angle markers indicate a relative position from your heading or your course over ground, and they can be helpful in finding reference points. If you click display, you have a choice of whether you show the distance of the line or whether you show how far the line will extend out in terms of how long it would take you to get to that point. So if you choose time, then you want to tell it how long of a time. In this case, it's displaying 3 minutes, and you just use these arrows to change that to, let's say, 6 minutes. Click done, and then if I were moving, which I'm not, then it would display a line out. The tip of the line is where I would be 6 minutes from now. That would continually move as I'm moving, but at all times the tip of that line is where I will be in 6 minutes. If you choose instead distance, then it will indicate this line here will be a certain distance from your boat, and that's chosen with the next button, which says distance. And here you can choose the length of the line, and in this case it's showing 0.1 nautical miles. Again, you just use the arrow to determine. We can make it 0.2. If I scale out, you can see that these lines, each one of these little markers is 0.2 nautical miles. So the line itself extends out 1 mile. The next button is what type of distance units you want. In this case, it's set for nautical miles, but you could also set it in feet. Finally, you have a button for the source, and this is where you're going to get your heading control from. You can either use auto, and it will automatically choose from whatever source is available. You can choose GPS heading, which shows your course over ground, not your heading. So it shows which direction your boat is traveling, not necessarily which direction your boat is pointing. This will be helpful, I guess, if you're going in reverse. And this uses your GPS antenna, either external antenna or the internal one to your chart plotter. And just by pressing it, you select it. You now see that the source is showing GPS. If you choose the heading button, then that uses a heading monitor if you have one installed on your boat, and it'll show which direction your bow is pointing and not necessarily which direction your boat is going. The final choice is both COG and heading, and it will display both lines so you can see your course over ground as well as which direction your bow is pointing. In this case, you can see that my bow is pointing towards the top of the chart, and it believes that I'm heading backwards. And so the course over ground line, which is in blue, is pointing more or less behind me. Once you have it set up the way you want it, if you're done, you can just press close. In my case, I don't want the heading line displayed, so I'm going to press back, and I'm going to turn the heading line off. And at that point, then you can press close. And that's how you control the heading line indicator on your GPSMap 1243 XSV. Thanks for watching.